There's nothing like waking up early on a Saturday morning to catch your favorite cartoons. And today we'll be looking back on the cartoons that made our Saturday mornings that much sweeter. During a time when Saturday mornings meant plopping down in front of the old tube, eagerly awaiting the animated escapades that would whisk us away to fantastical worlds. Now, the Groovy Ghoulies were a motley crew of characters, a ghoulish gang that lived in the eerie, horrible hall. This whimsical haunt was home to a mix of classic monsters like Drac, Wolfie, and Frankie. Not the gangster kind, mind you, but old Frankenstein's monster. Each episode brought us into their kooky world, where they sang, danced, and got up to all sorts of ghostly hijinks. What made this cartoon special, you ask? Well, it was the perfect blend of spooky and silly. The characters were endearing in their own monstrous way, and the show featured catchy musical numbers that had us tapping our toes. The Groovy Ghoulies became icons of the era, with their distinct personalities and unforgettable tunes. Every Saturday morning, kids would scramble out of bed, bowl of cereal in hand, and plop down to catch the antics of these lovable monsters. The colorful animation and zany humor made it a hit with the young ones, and even a few of us old-timers found ourselves chuckling along. In those days, Groovy Ghoulies was a breath of fresh air, a spooky delight that brought laughter and a touch of the macabre to our Saturday mornings. Ah, those were the days, my friends, when cartoons had heart and soul and the Groovy Ghoulies had it in spades. Back in the day, when the airwaves were filled with groovy tunes and bell-bottoms were all the rage, the Brady Bunch clan ventured into the animated realm. The plotline of the Brady Kids followed the 6 Brady siblings, Marcia, Greg, Peter, Jan, Bobby, and Cindy, as they embarked on various adventures with a couple of funky sidekicks, Ping and Pong, and their talking mynah bird, Marlin. This ain't your typical family sitcom. No sir, this was a cartoon extravaganza, complete with magical tiki idols and time-traveling hijinks. Now, what made this cartoon special was seeing the Brady Bunch in a whole new light. The characters retained their wholesome charm, but with a dash of animated zaniness. And let's not forget the catchy tunes. Oh, they had songs that would stick in your head for days. The Brady Kids graced the TV screens when the sun was barely peeking over the horizon, and kids were still clad in their pajamas, munching on sugary cereal. It was a time for laughter, sugary snacks, and the unbridled joy of watching your favorite characters come to life in vibrant animation. Why was it popular, you ask? Well, it was the perfect blend of nostalgia and the cartoon craze of the era. Families gathered round the television, and the Brady Kids brought the beloved Brady Bunch into a new dimension. It was a whimsical escape, a chance for kids to see their favorite TV family in a whole new light. Super Friends, a beacon of justice that graced the TV screens in the funky 70s. In those times, when disco balls lit up the night and bell-bottoms were all the rage, this cartoon brought together a mighty league of heroes. The plotline was a simple yet thrilling one. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and a roster of iconic DC superheroes joined forces to combat evil and protect the world from dastardly villains. Week after week, the Super Friends faced challenges that tested their mettle, all while promoting the virtues of teamwork and friendship. What made this cartoon special were the legendary characters that stood shoulder to shoulder in the Hall of Justice. Superman, the Man of Steel, brought his super strength. Batman, the Dark Knight, used his detective skills, and Wonder Woman, with her lasso of truth, added a touch of Amazonian grace. The lineup also included Aquaman, The Flash, and more, creating a powerhouse ensemble that had us cheering for justice. The show tapped into the collective excitement for superhero comics, bringing beloved characters to life in vibrant animation. The show's positive messages of teamwork and courage resonated with audiences, young and old alike. In a world that seemed increasingly complex, Super Friends offered a dose of hope and inspiration, reminding us all that even the mightiest challenges could be overcome when friends stood united. A cartoon that had every kid chuckling back in the 70s, Jabberjaw is an instant classic. Now, the plotline of Jabberjaw was a real hoot. It followed a talking great white shark named Jabberjaw and his band, the Neptunes, as they embarked on musical adventures. This wasn't your ordinary underwater tale. No, sir. Jabberjaw and his pals solved mysteries, foiled villains, and belted out tunes in a futuristic world where sharks not only talked, but also rocked. Jabberjaw himself was a character like no other, a lovable, goofy shark with a penchant for cracking jokes and getting into hilarious predicaments. The Neptunes, a ragtag group of musicians, added to the charm with their quirky personalities. Together, they created a cartoon that was as entertaining as it was absurd. Jabberjaw's unique concoction of animated silliness is what made it so popular with the audience in the 70s. The talking shark gimmick was a riot, and the show's infectious energy resonated with the carefree spirit of the times. It was a cartoon that didn't take itself too seriously, giving us a break from the ordinary and inviting us into a world where even a shark could be the star of the show. Back in those groovy times, Saturday mornings were a treasure trove of animated delights, and this spooky escapade found its place among the classics. The plotline was a whimsical blend of chills and chuckles. Goober, a bumbling but lovable dog, stumbled upon a haunted mansion and, accompanied by the Ghost Chasers team, embarked on ghostly investigations. The team included the wise-cracking Gilly, the brainy Tina, and the ever-fearful Teddy, bringing a mix of personalities to the ghost-hunting crew. What made this cartoon special was its charming characters, each contributing a unique flavor to the ensemble. Goober, with his endearing clumsiness, was the heart of the group. Gilly's humor, Tina's intelligence, and Teddy's constant jitters added layers to the dynamic, making every ghost chase and adventure filled with laughter and a hint of spookiness. Goober and the Ghost Chasers tapped into the supernatural craze of the era, blending mystery and humor in a way that resonated with young audiences. The characters were relatable, the adventures were just spooky enough to keep us on the edge of our seats, and the camaraderie of the Ghost Chasers made it a joyous watch. Oh, those were the days of animated enchantment, where every Saturday brought a new spectral escapade with Goober and his ghost-hunting pals. Among the gems of that era was Josie and the Pussycats, a toe-tapping cartoon that had us all grooving to its rhythm. The plotline was a lively one. Oh yes, it followed the adventures of Josie McCoy, the lead singer and guitarist, along with her bandmates Melody Valentine on drums and Valerie Brown on bass. Together, they formed the groovy girl band known as the Pussycats. Now, these talented gals weren't just about music. They found themselves entangled in a whirlwind of mysteries, often stumbling upon schemes that needed some serious unraveling. What made this cartoon special were the characters, each bringing a unique charm to the mix. Josie was the determined and charismatic leader. Melody added a sprinkle of whimsy with her carefree spirit, and Valerie, the brains of the group, kept things grounded. Not to forget their pals Alexandra and Alexandra's brother Alexander, the mischievous rivals, adding a dash of rivalry and humor to the mix. Josie and the Pussycats struck a chord with the youth of the time. The lively music, the fashion-forward characters, and the thrilling mysteries catered to the youthful spirit of the 70s. It was a cultural phenomenon, capturing the essence of the era and turning Saturday mornings into a musical adventure. Oh, those were the days of animated joy, where Josie and her Pussycats ruled the airwaves with style and melody. So which of these delightful cartoons do you remember tuning in back in the 70s? Let us know down below, and we'll see you on the next one.